Lord, sometimes we are just so weak.
Give us your strength.
Lord, sometimes we don't know what to do.
Give us your wisdom.
Lord, sometimes we are scared to do what you are calling us to do.
Give us your courage.
Lord, sometimes we can get filled with anger and frustration.
Fill us with your love instead.
Let us pray. God of power and might, we come to you this day knowing that in so many ways we are weak and lacking the strength to even go on. Help us to rely not on our own strength, but on yours. We know you can do all things, and through you we can be part of your great work. Be with us during this time of worship, that we may draw on your strength and power, so that we are able to do the work that you are calling us to do. Amen.
Join in our song with
But you guys play on soccer teams, don't you? What color is your jersey? Do you play on soccer team? What color is your jersey? Is it white? Green?
Either neon yellow or blue.
Oh, you got two. What color jersey?
Well, Andrew and me are on the same team, and I think it's going to be green.
Oh, so apparently they have two to choose from, or two colors on the same uniform? Oh, they don't have them yet. Oh, so there was a trick question. I didn't know that. Sorry. Well, my point is that when you wear your jersey of whatever color it turns out being, everybody else on your team wears the same one, right? Then when you get to soccer, everybody knows that you guys are on the team with the green, yellow, neon yellow, white, whatever jerseys, right? That's how you're identified when you're on the soccer field. Well, you know, God gives us identities ourselves. And God gave some identity to one person back in the Bible before he was even born. There was another couple, you know, we have lots of couples in the Bible who couldn't have children, and this one couldn't, but an angel of the Lord came and said, "You're going to have a son, and your son will be a Nazirite." So you've got to be very careful about what you eat and drink. He's going to be a Nazirite to God, which meant that he was set apart for God. He was God's special man. And because he was a Nazirite, he had to wear his hair long, and the angel said, never touch his head with a razor. He always is going to wear his hair long. Let it grow, let it grow, let it grow. And so he grew up with long hair, and everybody knew that he was a Nazirite because of his long hair. His name was Samson, and God had lots of plans for Samson. So God also has plans for us too. Before you were born, he had plans for you. You have certain things that you are involved in, and it's probably because God put you there. Isn't that cool? Now, one of the symbols we wear if we're Christians is a cross, and I've got a couple of crosses that I inherited in my office. One of them is nails. We know where that came from. This one's like a little olive wood because it came maybe from Jerusalem. But when we wear a cross, everybody knows we're a Christian. We believe in God, we believe in Jesus, we believe that Jesus died, and we believe that he was raised from the dead. But what happens if you're not wearing a cross? God wants us to still let everybody know that we're Christians. What do we do because we're Christians? What are some things we do because we're Christians? We pray. We be kind to other people. That's very important. We what? Read the Bible, yes. But we always show people the way we act, what we are because we're Christians. Being kind, saying good words to people instead of ugly words. Being helpful, being obedient. Those kinds of things show people we're Christians, even though we're not wearing a cross. Now, some years back, our church ordered these things. I want to give them to you. We ordered them to hand out to people. Can you give those to Maggie and Gus? Give one to little Aria. And that one that you have says, God bless you. Did I give them another one? It says, God bless you. This one says, oh, thank you. This one says, Jesus in me loves you. How about that? We got them to hand out to people so that people would know we were Christians and that we loved them. But it also reminded us that that's the way we're supposed to behave. The Jesus in me is supposed to love other people. We're supposed to ask God to bless them. So take these home with you. You can give them to somebody if you want to. If not, just keep them to remind you that when you're around other people, show them that you're a Christian, even if you're not wearing a cross. Okay? Let's pray. Father God, you gave us special, special things to do. Help us to carry them out just like you'd like for us to. Amen.
Our scripture today comes from the book of Judges, the 13th chapter, beginning with the 2nd verse. Now there was a certain man from Zorah, from the Danite clan, whose name was Manoah. His wife was unable to become pregnant and had not given birth to any children. The Lord's messenger appeared to the woman and said to her, "Even though you've been unable to become pregnant and haven't given birth, you are now pregnant and will give birth to a son. Now be careful not to drink wine or brandy or eat anything that is ritually unclean, because you are pregnant and will give birth to a son. Don't allow a razor to shave his head, because the boy is going to be a Nazirite for God from birth. He'll be the one who begins Israel's rescue from the power of the Philistines." Then the woman went and told her husband, "A man of God came to me, and he looked like God's messenger. Very scary. I didn't ask him where he was from, and he didn't tell me his name. He said to me, 'You are pregnant and will give birth to a son. So don't drink wine or brandy or eat anything that is ritually unclean, because the boy is going to be a Nazirite for God from birth until the day he dies.' Manoah asked the Lord, 'Please, my Lord,' he said, 'let the man of God whom you sent come back to us once more, so he can teach us how we should treat the boy who is to be born.' God listened to Manoah, and God's messenger came once more to the woman. She was sitting in the field, but her husband Manoah wasn't with her. So the woman hurriedly ran and informed her husband. She said to him, 'The man who came to me the other day has just appeared to me.' Manoah got up and followed his wife. He came to the man and he said to him, 'Are you the man who spoke to this woman?' 'I am,' he replied. Manoah said, 'Now, when your words come true, what should be the rules for the boy and how he should act?' The Lord's messenger answered Manoah, 'The woman should be careful to do everything that I told her. She must not consume anything that comes from the grapevine, drink wine or brandy, or eat anything that's ritually unclean. She must be careful to do everything that I have commanded her.' Manoah said to the Lord's messenger, 'Please let us persuade you to stay so we can prepare a young goat for you.' But the Lord's messenger replied to Manoah, 'If you persuaded me to stay, I wouldn't eat your food. If you prepared an entirely burned offering, offer it to the Lord.' Indeed, Manoah didn't know that he was the Lord's messenger. Manoah said to the Lord's messenger, 'What's your name, so that we may honor you when your words come true?' The Lord's messenger responded to him, 'But why do you ask my name? You couldn't understand it.' So Manoah took a young goat and a grain offering and offered them on a rock to the Lord. While Manoah and his wife were looking, an amazing thing happened. As the flame from the altar went up toward the sky, the Lord's messenger went up in the altar's flame. When Manoah and his wife saw this, they fell face down on the ground. The Lord's messenger didn't reappear to Manoah or his wife, and Manoah then realized that it had been the Lord's messenger. Manoah said to his wife, "We certainly are going to die because we've seen God." But his wife replied to him, "If the Lord wanted to kill us, he wouldn't have accepted the entirely burnt offering and grain offering from our hands. He wouldn't have showed us all these things or told us all of this now." The woman gave birth to a son and named him Samson. The boy grew up, and the Lord blessed him. Friends, this is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. One of the movie series that our family enjoys is the Marvel superheroes. I think the people who created these movies and now these different TV series that are on Disney Plus are just very creative. And there's one scene that I want to highlight to get us focused on the message for today. All of the Avengers, the superheroes, are relaxing. They're sitting around in Tony Stark's home. And Tony Stark is Iron Man, if you don't know. And they're enjoying this time together. And Thor is there. And Thor has this hammer. It's a special hammer. And you can only lift the hammer up if you are worthy. And Thor, he takes his hammer and he just waves it around like it's nothing. And he uses it to cause a lot of damage when he's fighting villains. Well, Thor's hammer is kind of in the middle of the Avengers group, and then they begin challenging one another to try and pick this hammer up. And one by one, the different superheroes go and they try and pick it up, and they just fail miserably. But what's really funny in this scene is when Captain America gets up for his turn, and he's going to try and do it, and the camera goes to Thor, and Thor looks really concerned. He thinks that Captain America might just be worthy and able to lift it. But he doesn't. And Thor just looks visibly relieved. Thor is extremely strong and just one of the few people worthy to lift this hammer. Today, our focus in our Looking at the Old in a New Way worship series is another really strong man who was born and raised to be worthy. He struggled with what it means to be worthy throughout his life. But in the end, he proved his dedication and commitment to God with his final act of self-sacrifice. I'm talking about Samson. Well, really, the part of the story that we read from Scripture was the beginning of Samson's story and is really more his mom's story. The Lord's messenger comes to this unnamed woman, this female who was so unimportant that we don't even know her name, who was barren, which made her of little value, who wasn't respected by society except for who she had married. And God chose this woman to give birth to the judge who was going to begin Israel's rescue from the Philistines. God used this unimportant, unnamed woman to give birth to and to raise Samson, the strong man who was able to kill a lion with his bare hands, to wipe out 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of a donkey, who uprooted a city gate and carried it on his back for 40 miles. And with the last of his strength, when it seemed like he had just been reduced to a sideshow, Samson destroyed one of the Philistine temples, along with thousands of Philistines that had gathered there to watch Samson make a fool of himself. This powerful, well-known, and monumental leader of the Israel people was born to a powerless, unknown, and unimportant woman. Before I begin connecting our story to Samson's mom's story, I want to reiterate a theme that we touched on last week when we looked at the story of Jacob and Esau. Just as they were imperfect and that they made mistakes, so did Samson. While Samson did follow all of the restrictions required as a Nazirite, which means that he would abstain from everything from a grapevine. Everything such as wine, grape skins, grape seeds, even raisins. He wouldn't touch any of that. He wouldn't touch anything that was dead, for that would make him unclean. And he wouldn't cut his hair. Even with following all of those restrictions, he still made mistakes. It seemed he was more focused on relationships with women than leading the Israelite people. He let his desires to be with women overtake him and lead him to jealousy and to anger and poor decision-making. The stories about Samson in the book of Judges indicates that Samson really struggled as a leader. Daniel Block writes, Samson accomplished less on behalf of his people than any of his predecessors. Though Samson was impressive as an individual, he turned out to be anything but a military hero. He never leads Israel out in battle. He never engages the Philistines in martial combat. He never experiences a military victory. All of his accomplishments are personal. All his victories, private. So powerful Samson makes mistakes, but finally redeems himself with his final act. See, God uses imperfect people, people who make mistakes, people who have struggled to make wise choices in the past. God uses all kinds of people to accomplish God's good work. So now returning to Samson's mom, God uses this unknown, powerless, seemingly unimportant woman to mother the leader of the Israelite people. We don't know much about this woman, including her name. What we do know is that she did as well follow the instructions that the Lord's messenger gave her. Throughout her pregnancy, she didn't consume anything that came from the grapevine. She didn't touch anything that was unclean. She kept the Nazirite vow for Samson, even before he was born. And when he was growing up, she raised him with these restrictions. And I imagine explained to him over and over and over again why he couldn't eat grapes like his friends, or why he had to keep his crazy long hair piled up on his head instead of going to the barber like everyone else. She did what she could to prepare Samson to be the person that God was calling him to be. Friends, I think that should give us some encouragement. When we feel unknown or powerless, seemingly unimportant, we can celebrate that God uses people just like us to do incredible things. We can be part of bringing God's kingdom to fruition here on earth. None of us are too small, too weak, too worthless for God to pass us over. God can use each one of us. And I don't know about you, but when I think about that, I get excited. And I want to point out what happened in the work of Main Street, what this body of faith is doing, what happened on Thursday this past week, just one day in the life of this faith community. Our Stepping Stones ministry began a new school year, and we had about 40 preschoolers and their parents walking our halls, getting loved on by their wonderful teachers, and getting welcomed to a new school year that will include learning the ABCs and numbers and how to get along with classmates and just how much Jesus loves them. Our Stepping Stones after-school program continued, and we have about 30 students participating in that, in which they receive loving care while doing their homework, playing with friends, having snack, and again, learning about Jesus' love for them. We had people stop by the office on Thursday looking for help with one thing or another, or offering help for one of our ministries. We had a parenting class led by the staff from Human Services that provides support for parents who need it. We had a supper program hosted by our men's group that had a guest sharing more details about the Care Portal program and how we can dive even deeper into helping those in need through using this technology. See, through Care Portal, we are not just caring for the family's physical needs, but we are establishing relationships and are sharing God's love in very tangible ways. Then we also had a group that met at Goose Creek to continue our work on Bread for the Journey, through which we are intentionally reaching out to those into the community who are searching for a connection and providing a safe space as we share our stories, as we journey together through this chaotic world. And I think the last thing that happened was an AA meeting supporting those who are battling the struggle of alcohol addiction. And all of these things, that doesn't even include those who connected with us that day through our social media posts and our online ministry, or those that came by our blessing box and obtained some much needed food. Friends, that was just one day this past week. Our faith community was and is doing some awesome things for Christ. And it's easy for us to think that we're a small congregation, we're not well known, we have limited power, right? But wow, we are making a difference. We are doing the work that God is calling us to do. We're remaining faithful, just as Samson's mom did. And God is using our faithfulness to change lives and make new disciples for Jesus Christ. So, how is God calling you to be a part of what's going on? How can you serve as Samson's mom did? What gifts do you have that might strengthen the work that is happening at Main Street? Our lay leadership and nominations team is engaged in finding our leadership for the next year. We're looking for people to serve on our administrative teams like staff, parish, and trustees, but also for our ministry teams, which focus on our core values of faith development, meaningful worship, joyful, inclusive fellowship, and outward, unselfish caring. If you feel that God is calling you to serve in a new way, just call the church office and let us know. Wouldn't it be just so wonderful if everyone here that's part of Main Street finds a way to answer God's call to serve with gifts that only you have. Whether it is on one of these official teams that lay leadership is working on or in an unofficial way, each of us can be used by God. May we be ready and willing to serve and answer God's call, just as Samson's mom did. Amen. Go out ready to live and speak his praise with everyone you meet. Go now in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.